Việt Nam đồng bào. Hoàng sa trường sa, hoàng sa trường sa, Việt Nam nào ba lần
mất biên giới, mất hoàng sa.
Human rights for Vietnam.
Xin giới thiệu tới tất cả quý đồng bào, ông Jason Kenney, Quốc vụ Khanh, Chính phủ Canada. Xin một tràng pháo tay thật lớn trước khi ông bắt đầu nói chuyện với chúng ta.
Thank you. Bonjour. Good afternoon. It's a real pleasure to be here on behalf of Prime Minister Stephen Harper and the Conservative Government of Canada to bring you greetings on this important day in this sacred space. We are here gathered around this beautiful cenotaph, which is dedicated to the more than 120,000 Canadian soldiers who gave their lives in the defense of freedom and democracy over the last century. We remember their sacrifice, just as we remember the sacrifice of those brave sons and daughters of Vietnam who fought and died for the freedom of Vietnam. I am proud to be here with you to see this beautiful display of the Vietnamese Heritage Freedom flag, which is an important symbol to the entire Vietnamese community across Canada and throughout the world, because it is a symbol of hope. It is a symbol that demonstrates you have not forgotten your past and you have not given up hope that one day again Vietnam will be a free and democratic country. Today we are not only celebrating Vietnamese Canadians having found refuge and freedom in Canada, but we're also paying tribute to the veterans that helped pave the road to freedom. This year marks a significant anniversary in the history of the Vietnamese people. 40 years ago, on 31 January 1968, the Communist forces of North Vietnam broke the traditional New Year's Day truce and launched the Tet Mao Tan with 80,000 troops. Within a month, the communist attack was defeated and pushed back. Republic of Vietnam and allied forces took back all of the cities that the communists had occupied. The Western media of the day, however, portrayed the Tet Offensive as a massive defeat for the South Vietnam and the American forces. A typical example of how anti-war propaganda can be dressed up as the daily news by the Canadian media. Walter Cronkite in the United States, watched by many Canadians, said, quotes, "We are mired in a stalemate that could only be ended by negotiation, not victory." And Laurier Lapierre of the CBC said that South Vietnam was a worse dictatorship than the North. To the CBC, Ho Chi Minh was Uncle Ho. To the CBC, Ho Chi Minh was a noble leader who only wanted peace. These are the lies that Canadians heard from their own media. Instead of the front line in a war for freedom, the defeatist leftist media portrayed the struggle of free Vietnamese people as a pointless quagmire. The media pundits here in Canada and the United States said that the people of South Vietnam should be abandoned to their communist fate. In fact, they even said the communists and the Viet Cong represented the freedom and national aspiration of all Vietnamese people, and how wrong they were. Instead, we witnessed decades of suffering on the part of the people left behind in Vietnam. Other people from Vietnam, thank God, came to this country bravely facing incredible challenges and adversity, and coming here facing a radical change of culture, a new society, a new language, not to mention a climate that is often harsh. Canadians of Vietnamese origin climbed above the horrors of what happened to their country, your country. They survived the betrayal by the Canadian and the American left, and they rose to the challenges presented by their new country. Today, more than 150,000 people of Vietnamese origin live in Canada and make an amazing contribution to our life together here in this great country. Vietnamese Canadians have played an important part of Canada's growth and success, thanks to a strong commitment to family, to freedom, and to faith. Let me say it is with particular honor that I represent Prime Minister Stephen Harper, who was the first Canadian Prime Minister to forcefully raise the issue of human rights in meeting with the leadership of Communist Vietnam 2 years ago. And I am also proud to belong to a government that will this spring be repatriating to Canada the last remaining Viet boat people from Philippines, who will be coming here soon. Let me add to the Prime Minister my remarks that it is time for the government of Vietnam to give the basic freedoms and respect for human rights that we expect for all people throughout the world. It is time that they release Father Vinh Nguyen Le and all political prisoners. It is time for freedom of religion. It is time to allow for political freedom. It is time to allow for democracy once more to flourish in Vietnam. Long live a free Vietnam!
Tell us how you feel today, with all Vietnamese people here, gather here.
I'm very proud of the Vietnamese community in Canada. I'm proud of their faithfulness to their past, represented by the freedom flag. And I'm proud of the fact that they're not afraid to continue to stand for freedom and democracy. We see some other communities that have been victims of communism that are more concerned about making money than standing for freedom.
Right.
That's not true of the Vietnamese community. It's a community that really understands democratic values, and that makes them great Canadians.